Right people, so I thought that we knew everything there was to know about the iPhone SE4, but as per usual in the world of leaks, we have a new report throwing a curveball at us because apparently we could see the dynamic island on this phone. Wait, what? So yes, pretty reliable leaker Evan Blass shares alleged images of the iPhone SE4 that's been found in source codes, and we can see there is indeed an island on this. Now that's very surprising to me because rumors so far have been suggesting this will be based on the iPhone 14, which obviously has a notch, and I thought that made sense because Apple wants the SE to look older compared to more modern iPhones, and the notch does exactly that. Going into a store and seeing the SE alongside the more futuristic iPhone 15 and 16 might sway consumers towards those higher end iPhones, which Timothy wants you to buy. However, I do want to mention there have actually been rumors the SE could be called the iPhone 16e, which I don't believe at first, but if this does get a dynamic island, that naming scheme could make some sense, since it will look more like the iPhone 16 from the front. Now, Evan Blass in source code did find reference to the name iPhone SE 4th generation, but that could also be a placeholder name since marketing names are only finalized much closer to release. Honestly though, I'm just playing devil's advocate here for no reason. Ultimately, I don't believe Apple's going to give us an island because we would have spotted this much earlier with dummy models. Those have a notch, and also the iPhone 16e is a weird name because Apple likely is going to keep this around the range for a couple of years, and so when the 17 comes out, this instantly becomes outdated because it's not part of the newest iPhone generation. But calling it the SE means it's separate from the regular naming scheme, and so Apple can keep it around for a few years and it won't look that outdated. Also, what would it even mean? The 10R was a messy name as is, and so let's not bring back those letter-based naming schemes. It's better they call this the iPhone SE. Now, I did mention dummy models, so let's quickly delve into that because reliable source Sonny Dixon had shared images, and we can see it will indeed be based on the iPhone 14, and we can see it has a notch, and so this will be a massive improvement over the iPhone SE3. Now, I'm going to side with the dummies because do remember these are what case manufacturers are using to develop cases for this phone, and so yes, I still don't see an island coming to this iPhone. Also on the back there's only one single lens which will be 40 megapixels, just like iPhone 16. The rails of the device should be aluminium like every other non-Pro iPhone, and there is no action button or camera control to be found on these dummies, so that will remain an exclusive for the higher end iPhones, which I'm not surprised by. I guess we can still live with the mute switch for a low price, though I won't deny an action button would have been nice to see on this. You know what else would be nice to see? If you click that subscribe button, of course. It's free and bringing the latest about Apple right to your subscription box, so please consider it. It would be appreciated. Join the saranbyte gang now. And that's basically all these dummies show. Now they do come in black and white, and considering Apple stopped producing red iPhones, I do wonder if this will be the first iPhone since the 10 to not come in any color except black and white. That would be a bit of a bummer, but maybe that's an intentional decision because regular consumers care a lot about colors, and so they might be swayed towards the more expensive 15 or 16 solely for this reason. But overall guys, when you look at the design and the specs of the iPhone SE4, you may think this all sounds a bit too good to be true, and that's because it kinda is, because there will be an Achilles heel with this device, and that's Apple's first in-house modem. For those unaware, Apple currently relies on Qualcomm for the modems they use in their iPhones, but a couple of years ago they had bought out Intel's modem business to use as a basis for their own modems. Now we're finally getting products with these, and first up will be the iPhone SE in the spring, likely launching around March or April. According to Mark Gurman, Apple's modem should have theoretical speeds of up to 4 gigs per second, which is slower than the Qualcomm modems in the iPhone 16 right now, and also there won't be millimeter wave support. That's currently available on US iPhones, and also because it's a first gen modem there could be issues with call reception. Currently employees are secretly testing these modems, but apparently the plan is not to give these to higher end iPhones anytime soon because these won't be perfect. But these disadvantages aren't as big of an issue when it comes to lower end devices, and so using the SE as a guinea pig isn't a bad idea. Now of course it's not all gloom and doom, there will be some advantages with Apple's in-house modem, such as lower power consumption, improved cellular network scanning, and satellite connectivity enhancements. These will be produced by TSMC, and Apple plans for their modems to replace Qualcomm's technology in iPhones by 2027, so we're still a while away before these become the de facto standards. But yes, hopefully there aren't too many issues with these first gen modems, but I'm sure speeds are going to be slower with the SE4, which works in Apple's favor because that's definitely going to push consumers to buy the higher end iPhones. Anyway, let's recap everything we know about the iPhone SE, and guess what? Gurman does exactly that in a new report. So for one, he says this will be similar to the iPhone 14, which is not a surprise anymore. But hey, Gurman also chiming in and corroborating on this key information is big news. This alone means we're getting Face ID instead of Touch ID, and more importantly a 6.1-inch OLED, which would be a humongous improvement over the 4.7-inch LCD we have right now. But more excitingly, Gurman clarifies on some confusion regarding whether the SE is getting Apple Intelligence support or not. Previously, Ice Universe had mentioned we could see, and I quote, 6 to 8 gigs of LPDDR5 memory, which does suggest you might get different amounts of RAM depending on the storage tier you go with. This is quite common in the Android space, but would be a first for the iPhone, though do remember iPad Pros have done this for a while, with the base models getting 8 gigs and higher end storage variants getting 16 gigs. Anyway, if certain variants of the SE do get 6 gigs of RAM, they would not be able to run Apple Intelligence. You need a minimum of 8 gigs, and so as I'd mentioned in previous videos, I don't see Apple doing this. It would be very confusing if only higher end storage variants supported such a key feature, and thankfully Gurman makes it clear the iPhone SE does have full Apple Intelligence support, so expect 8 gigs of RAM as standard. To be fair, considering the A18 is only in the iPhone 16 right now, and we know that has 8 gigs of RAM, they're likely just going to plot the same SoC in the iPhone SE. Moving on to other details we know about the iPhone SE4, according to leaker Unknowns21, partially assembled prototypes of the next SE have been equipped with lithium-ion batteries bearing the model number A2863, which Apple has already used in the past for, guess what? The iPhone 14. That's not really surprising. Now, the actual capacity is 3,279 mAh, which is a big upgrade over the 2018 mAh battery the current SE has. I actually used to use the SE3 as a beta testing device, and whilst the battery life isn't horrible, it's only just about good enough in my opinion, and so having a battery capacity similar to iPhone 14 is fantastic news because the 14 in my testing got me 7 or 8 hours of screen on time, and that's plenty enough for most consumers. Anyway, let me know your thoughts in the comments, make sure to like and subscribe for more content like this, and thank you for watching. So as we get closer to the iPhone SE4's release date, we have evidence that this iPhone is launching very soon in leaked source codes, and so let's dive in. So reliable leaker Evan Blass has found evidence of a new iPhone SE4 alongside the iPad Air and iPad 11. Now fortunately that's all we get, but of course these products being put together in a database heavily does suggest we are indeed getting a spring event, and Apple plans to launch these products together very soon. So yeah, that is more confirmation, I guess. The iPhone SE should come out in March or April. Now, if you're wondering how this iPhone SE4 is going to look, we have dummy models of the iPhone SE4 showing us the brand new design. And when I say brand new, it just looks a lot like the iPhone 14. So these models come from Sonny Dixon, who's a somewhat reliable source, but also remember we are only a few months away from this phone actually releasing, so we can somewhat be sure these are legit. Also, case manufacturers use dummies to make cases before an iPhone releases, and so whilst they don't function, they should give us a good idea of the exterior design. And well, this basically matches up with every